Have you ever heard the saying, set yourself on fire to warm someone else? A powerful reminder associated with the ancient Stoic principle of being perceived as kind. Always being the giver, many distortions arise. A noble act of kindness can turn self-destructive. But what is the cost? The truth is, while great kindness, when it depletes your own resources, energy, and well-being, is not a virtue. Through destruction, many have lost their way of giving so much of themselves, feeling empty. It's invaluable to be kind, but also to be kind to ourselves. It teaches us the art of balanced generosity, ensuring that our actions are enriching and protecting our well-being. In this video, we will reveal how Stoic principles can help you establish healthy boundaries so that your kindness becomes a source of strength and not exhaustion. We explore how not giving away love doesn't harm without disappearing from our own lives. Let's begin. One doesn't set themselves on fire to warm others. Excessive kindness can turn into a trap against which I would caution Marcus Aurelius, the wise Stoic philosopher. Imagine yourself as someone who always rushes to help others. Saying no is like you've given away pieces of yourself until there was nothing left of you. It won't remain. You'll become the one who's always available for others. But when you look at your own needs, it's not just a matter of being kind, it's also about being kind to yourself. Marcus reminded us that we wish our first duty to be about caring for our own well-being. Without it, we cannot be sincere towards others. Consider the story of two neighboring gardeners, one of whom carefully tended to his own garden, while the other, despite having his own plot, often tended to everyone else's gardens. The diligent gardener understood the importance of self-care, with the right balance of attention and resources, which led to the creation of a thriving livelihood and space. The land of this gardener was not only a source of personal joy but also provided plenty of produce to share with neighbors across the garden. Those who gave disproportionately spent so much time and effort in others' gardens that their own land, their garden, was neglected without proper care, dried up, and the harvest was meager. In their desire to be helpful, they neglected their own needs, stepping out of their garden and metaphorically leaving themselves exhausted. One must think before rushing to help others. Ask yourself, is this help sustainable? Am I maintaining my well-being? The Stoics would encourage us to practice Stoicism, establishing healthy boundaries and convincing ourselves that in our desire to be kind, let us not forget to be kind, because in the end, you cannot give from an empty vessel. It's a delicate balance, this art of kindness. It requires not only generosity towards others but also towards oneself. We must learn to recognize when our acts of kindness are draining us, when they are tipping the scales of our own well-being. It's not selfishness to prioritize our own needs, it's self-preservation. Consider the analogy of the oxygen mask on an airplane. In the event of an emergency, you're instructed to secure your own mask before assisting others. Why? Because if you're not breathing, you're in no position to help anyone else. It's a stark reminder that self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. Similarly, in life, we must ensure our own well-being before we can effectively support others. It's not about withholding kindness or turning a blind eye to those in need. It's about ensuring that our kindness is sustainable, that it flows from a place of abundance rather than depletion. So, the next time you feel compelled to give and give until there's nothing left, remember the wisdom of setting boundaries, of practicing self-care, and of nurturing your own well-being. True kindness isn't about sacrificing yourself, it's about finding a harmonious balance where both you and others can thrive. In the end, by being kind to ourselves, we not only preserve our own strength but also ensure that our acts of kindness ripple outwards, creating a positive impact that endures far beyond our initial gesture. Stoicism to maintain inner peace and integrity while also bringing positive contribution, providing a balanced environment, and fulfilling life both for oneself and for those you want to help. Reciprocity has an expiration date. Generosity is a virtue that enriches our lives and the lives of those around us. However, it contains a subtle trap when not moderated. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that still resonates with its wisdom in our modern critical lesson of vanity about kindness limits and offering help openly, noble-hearted but expecting the same measures of generosity in return can lead us down a path life has a way of disappointing. showing us that what good was done today can be forgotten tomorrow is not a reflection of our worth or the value of our actions, but rather a natural course of human memory and gratitude. Consider the act of giving as tending to it with hope that it will grow and perhaps one day offer shade or fruit, but nature brings storms, droughts, and times of change in its own way over the years. Likewise, when we manifest kindness, we should let go of the expectation rack of direct return. Especially Epictetus advises us to focus on our own virtue and right action, rather than expecting gratitude or equivalent return. This doesn't mean abandoning generosity, but rather cultivating a balanced and mindful approach to giving. True generosity comes from the heart, without expectations of reward or recognition. However, it's also important to recognize our own limits and prioritize our own well-being. After all, we can only offer meaningful help when we are balanced and nourished. So, in practicing kindness, always remember to include yourself as the beneficiary of that kindness. Establish healthy boundaries, learn to say no when necessary, and make time to take care of your own needs. In this way, you'll be able to offer help more effectively and sustainably, ensuring that your kindness doesn't become a burden but rather a source of strength and inspiration for yourself and those around you. Actions, not their results. Some things are under our control, but others are not. He said this to remind us that the joy of giving should come from the act itself and not from expecting rewards. Embracing this mentality protects us from the sting of unmet expectations and teaches us emotional resilience, allowing you to remain kind and generous without feeling exhausted or exploited. It doesn't mean that we should harden our hearts, but rather express our kindness as a reflection of our character and not as a transaction. In this way, we not only safeguard our peace of mind but also cultivate a form of generosity that is pure, self-sufficient, and sincere. This Stoic principle encourages us to give freely but wisely, convincing us that our kindness enriches us regardless of the world's reaction to our daily interactions. Think of a specific scenario where you can offer kindness or support without seeking anything in return, and consider practical steps you could take to ensure that your generosity remains a source of personal satisfaction and not exhaustion. Boundaries of the story. The surprise dawn of servant-performed dressing to personal hygiene quickly transitions to today, and it becomes clear that people still have expectations of us, often requesting services they could very well practice Stoicism themselves. This enlightens us by teaching values, setting boundaries, and accepting moderation, allowing us to act with intention and preserve our emotional well-being. Stoicism isn't about refusing help, it's about finding a balance, convincing ourselves that we aren't losing ourselves by supporting others. For example, the moving story of a mother and her adult daughter in the picturesque village, where the mother cared for her daughter out of love, serves as an incredible catalyst for 100. The story of the daughter's independence highlights a critical lesson. Although our intentions may be pure, excessive support may inadvertently stifle growth. Stoic Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, enshrined this wisdom in his thinking, stating that a person's task is to remain, music, etc. Expel everyone. Participants with deep knowledge of human connections or perceived by those who begin to be their friend for the sake of benefit will also cease to be her for the same reason. This serves as a powerful reminder of the need to nurture relationships based on genuine connections rather than transactional interactions. Stoicism teaches us to value ourselves for the wrong reasons, cultivating moderation by setting boundaries to protect our well-being while offering sincere support to others. Prioritizing our responsibilities and honoring not only preserves our authenticity but also engages us in more meaningful acts of generosity. A balanced approach to life and relationships ensures that we will stay true to ourselves and our values, leading a life of virtue and fulfillment while navigating the demands of modern life. Remembering to be attentive to your own needs is not selfishness but a necessary self-imposed act. Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson about inner stability and self-control. It's about building an internal fortress, mastering the art of self-restraint, and drawing clear lines in the sand that define our personal space. Over time, constantly bending backward for others can ironically make us appear weak. Without strong boundaries, we become easily vulnerable, our generosity perceived not as strength but as an opportunity for exploitation. But what if we seize this opportunity? Riding this cycle of excess expansion and exploitation drains us, leaving us feeling undervalued. Saying no with confidence signifies a shift where we no longer serve as the ultimate resource for everyone's requests or demands. This confidence conveys newfound self-respect, healing our esteem in return. Cicero, the philosophical thinker, concluded that what you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you. By establishing boundaries and practicing self-discipline, we not only safeguard our mental and emotional well-being but also command respect from those around us. Remember, speaking up for oneself is not just about enhancing self-respect but also about fostering healthier and more meaningful relationships with others. By setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline, we not only protect ourselves but also demonstrate the kind of treatment we deserve. It's important to recognize that saying no with confidence isn't a sign of selfishness but rather an essential practice for preserving our well-being and maintaining our personal integrity. By setting clear boundaries, we not only respect ourselves but also encourage others to respect us. Cultivating a balanced approach to life and relationships doesn't mean being insensitive or selfish. On the contrary, it means acknowledging our own needs and limits while also being willing to offer genuine and generous support to others. So, by establishing healthy boundaries and practicing self-discipline, we not only promote our own well-being but also create opportunities for more authentic and fulfilling relationships. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, living with virtue, integrity, and self-respect while also positively contributing to the world around us. Change is not without challenges, as being constantly available can lead to being absent from moments of joy, limiting your role to that of someone who is absent during leisure. This bitter awareness serves as a strength test to distinguish genuine connections from occasional ones. Did you know that the practice of setting boundaries, the central principle of Stoicism, not only enhances our personal well-being but also improves the quality of our relationships? This is a curious yet true aspect of human psychology. When we respect ourselves enough to say no, we often overcome this paradoxical effect. It emphasizes the shaping strength of self-respect and legibility. By embracing cultural wisdom, we are not only protecting ourselves from exhaustion but also cultivating relationships that are truly enriching and mutual. If you've learned something valuable so far, I'd like to ask for your support. Now let's discuss strategies to avoid being used by others and the dangers of excessive kindness. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so we can share more. The first strategy to overcome the fear of saying no is to deeply consider why that simple word often feels so difficult, tracing its gravity back to early lessons equated in our formative years with the fear of rejection, forming a belief system that ties our worth with constant approval. However, Stoic philosophy invites us to challenge and dismantle these ingrained ideas by advocating for a life of conscious choice rather than a life guided by the chains of the past. It asserts that as adults, we have the autonomy to redefine our interactions, recognizing that fears. The second strategy is to pay attention to your feelings. Embracing Stoicism leads us to introspection and mindfulness, guiding us to a thorough examination of our thoughts and emotions that contribute to mental stability. Ancient wisdom encourages us to become guardians of our inner peace. Observing behind our reactions and feelings, especially in acts of generosity, it teaches us that true satisfaction rises like the lifting of clouds in contrast to that feeling of exhaustion, irritation, or exploitation, signaling the need for recalibration. Although it may not be necessary to begin undermining our calm spirituality by acknowledging this discomfort, it is not self-deception but rather self-awareness. Under the joy and not a burden to our spirit. These strategies are fundamental to maintaining a healthy balance between generosity and self-care. By practicing introspection and setting boundaries, we not only strengthen our own emotional resilience but also foster more authentic and fulfilling relationships with others. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true virtue lies not only in giving without measure but also in giving wisely, recognizing our own limits and respecting our needs. By acting with this awareness, we are able to contribute more meaningfully to the well-being of all, including ourselves. Therefore, by applying these principles in our daily lives, we can become not only more compassionate and generous but also more authentic and integral in our interactions with the world around us. This is the essence of living a truly virtuous life, where self-care and caring for others go hand in hand to create a more harmonious and compassionate world for all. Third strategy, consider yourself a priority to easily become a master in less illuminated areas, but completely ignore your own well-being. Stoically reflecting the virtues of discipline and self-respect, make time for self-imposed. Stoicism ultimately nurtures the teaching soul, teaching us the art of self-preservation. Tact, humility, and nurturing of your physical, emotional, and mental health. Acknowledge your presence, increase your needs. This approach requires your complete devotion. Fully accept yourself. Forgive yourself for past mistakes and treat the next year as a blank canvas. The demands of the EU violate your asylum. Offer help within your constraints, emphasizing that your personal rebirth takes priority. Fourth strategy, identify who uses your adoption of Stoic virtues, such as self-discipline and discernment, gives us the power to discern the relationship. Attention to time and resources reflects the dynamics in which we find ourselves exhausted of our energy, exhausted by insatiable need. Stoicism teaches us the value of inner strength, reminding us that change is the door that only faith in someone can open. What we can be. The transformation of World War II is personal, a journey launched by an individual by will and not by external interventions. This philosophy does not advocate indifference but advocates a balanced approach to relationships. It is a dance of giving and receiving. When excessive, generosity can leave us empty, while stinginess isolates us. Stoicism inspires us to use our capacity for kindness and generosity, but also to wield the sword of discrimination, severing ties when necessary for our well-being. It is seeking balance, ensuring that our acts of kindness are not done at our own expense. Vitality. Remember that the strongest relationships are those in which both parties grow, and not those where one fades so the other can flourish. Stoicism encourages us to find balance, forcing us to carefully assess our actions and their impact. It emphasizes the importance of maintaining balance, encouraging us not to deplete our resources at the expense of our goals. Living life fully, on the other hand, warns against excessive caution in our offerings. Let us use our generosity wisely. Seneca, beacon of Stoic thoughts, captures this ethic perfectly. The kindness of the code is a treasure of kindness that must be held as such. Treasure in case the need for his words inspires us. Be ready to act charitable acknowledgement of deep connection that connects all people. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope these tips are valuable to you. Consider the opportunity to share with those in need, view and express your opinion in the comments section, because wisdom must be shared to flourish. Comment, I am persistent and I will know that you watched until the end. Now, you choose whether to follow the path of Stoicism to the right or to the left. I'm signing off here. Until next time.